If Isagi had a decoy weapon instead of some of the weapons that he does have now, it could change the course of the story in a very many ways. It would be very interesting to see exactly how that would affect the story, and that's exactly what I'm going to be doing in this video. Yo, what is up, egoists, and welcome back to the channel. As y'all can see, it's your boy Nox here, back at it again with another video. If you guys do enjoy this video, leave a like, subscribe to the channel. You already know what's up and you already know what to do. I hope that y'all do enjoy these content that I am making, and I hope that y'all enjoy all the videos that we do make here on this channel. We're getting extremely close to 1,000 subscribers, so please hit that like button and get us to 1K as soon as possible. We're really thanking y'all for all of the love that you guys have been showing us and all the support that you guys have been showing us, which is why we continue to make content that bangs every single day, and well, as often as we normally do make it within our schedule. But I hope that y'all enjoy it. But let's get into the video. So where we begin it is with when Isagi's a kid. This is right around where he's in elementary school and he's just getting started off playing an actual team sport. For the most part, he doesn't really have many people that he can play with, well, that are at least good on his team. So he kind of has to become the best player on his team. That's kind of literally what he's forced to do. As once he starts becoming the best player on his team, having to actively grow faster and faster, it really just sets him off onto this path where he's always the person getting the most attention on the field. This really does help out, especially for other members on his team that actually are somewhat decent, to be able to actively shine. Since he's taking all of this attention, all of the players are usually focusing everything on him. They're focusing all of their attention on him and just trying to stop him, which is really giving him the opportunity to really let his ego out quite a bit. Because since everyone's always following him, he can really grow exponentially faster. He's able to grow and use some moves that he wasn't able to do even in Blue Lock, and he's able to grow extremely fast. As time goes on, he's able to start using this as his kind of main playing style, where he takes the attention and is able to shoot shots when he finds them and sees the opportunities to make shots. But if he doesn't find an opportunity to make a shot, he's using himself as a decoy to take all of the attention, making it seem like he's going to take a shot, which most people that have played with him always know that he's most likely always in the mood to take a shot because he has that striker's mindset. But if he doesn't see the opportunity to make the shot, he will absolutely pass it. With that, I'm actually going to give him one of the weapons that he does get later on, where he can actually smell the goal, but this time he's actually understanding what he can do with it. He can see each and every individual path to the goal, the way that he does in Blue Lock in the later chapters of the manga, and in later parts of it entirely. So now that he's able to actively smell a goal and to see exactly where the best opportunities to get the shots are and exactly who's giving off that best scent, he's using himself as a decoy even better than he was before. He's using all of this momentum and all of this knowledge that he's able to use with the weapons that he does have, these two main weapons, along with his spatial awareness. He's using those weapons right there to use himself as the absolute perfect decoy. Using himself he obviously makes at least 2 shots in the beginning of the game as soon as he can find a way before anyone actually gets settled into their positions, and then he'll make shots randomly just as time goes along. But for the most part, everyone on his team understands, pass the ball to Isagi, and as soon as Isagi sees the perfect opportune moment, he'll pass the ball to somebody else if he has to and sees the need to be passing it. This really goes along for a majority of the entire time, even while he's in middle school. And that's one of the main reasons the school's choosing him, because they've seen how he plays, and even the coaches have told him that just let him play the way that he plays. It usually leads up to a win. No matter what, it usually leads up to a win. So that's exactly what ends up going on with a lot of things. So we also get to the point where we eventually get to where he's in high school, and we get to that moment during the Kira match. This match goes quite a bit differently. Most people in the just region where Isagi's in have heard of Isagi. He's one of the better known players, comparable to Kira. People know that he's an amazing striker, specifically due to the fact of him usually being able to make decent and amazing shots in almost any fashion. Yes, he's an amazing decoy, but it's also because of the fact that his dribbling is so good. His dribbling and passing is almost top tier onto another level. The reason why this is something I'm focusing on is because, yes, he's a perfect striker, but those two attributes are also really what sets him apart from almost anybody else. I say this specifically due to the reason of, as he's being the decoy, he kind of has to deal his way through a majority of everybody always swarming around him. So his dribbling and key maneuvering of the ball had to get better so he would never lose the ball. So his dribbling is just on a completely other level. If we compared him to Batra, especially if we're just comparing him to Batra at the beginning of Blue Lock just in the entirety of the first, second selection, whatever, he's around there. He's around the same dribbling capacity as Batra, which obviously makes a whole lot of things change, especially as we go later on. And when we get to his passing is elite. He makes perfect passes no matter what, because he sees so much of the field. He always knows where everyone's positioned. If he's able to, he makes sure to keep his eyes focused on the entirety of the field, never on just one specific player, limiting his eyesight and limiting his spatial awareness. Due to that fact, he can make sure to check exactly where everyone is, seeing their exact perfect positions, and he uses that to his perfect advantage. So during this match against Kira, he's able to make 2 shots almost immediately during the beginning of the match, but even before half point and the halfway mark. And then for a majority of the rest of the game, he's able to pass the ball around to a few of his team members just to kind of get a few goals. And obviously sometimes they miss, sometimes they don't make it, but Isagi can't do anything about that. And he usually doesn't bother himself with ever dealing with or getting mad at himself for not taking the shot. He knows that the only reason that he ever takes the shots, well, he understands that usually he just takes the shot because, like, this coach is different. He usually passes the ball because the coach is always like all for one and like one for all, which Isagi's kind of had to get used to, which obviously has brought him down quite a little bit. Yes, he still makes a majority of the shots on the team, but the coach is always still acting like Isagi has to pass, which kind of is limiting his ego quite a little bit. Because normally, if Isagi was playing the way that he wanted to, he would pass the ball when there's no other options to pass. He's going to be gaining that ego while he's in Blue Lock. That's something that he's going to be needing to gain. But by the end of the game, the score was around 3-1. Kira was able to make that only one singular shot, but Isagi was able to maneuver around him way more. Now that he has these few abilities that he's able to work together with, it's able to change his entire play style. The entire way that he moves and the entire way that he operates is completely shifted. As he would head up home that day after dealing with anything else that he needs to deal with and be greeted by his parents. After being greeted, they would tell him that he was actively invited into the JFA for like the chance to become like a pro player and something else like that. He reads it and actually is very interested in it, which is why he would accept and meet up with there on the next day. He would get to the JFA around the same time that he did in canon and meet up with Kira the same way that he did. They would both talk for a little while before heading inside, but this time they would actually have a little more to talk about. Kira would be talking to him specifically about like how he was able to do a lot of the things that he was doing and how he knew exactly all of the things that he did. It was basically like he was masterminding the game, but Isagi didn't really understand what Kira was talking about. This is just something that he was always able to do just by instinct. It's like his metavision that he is going to be able to still gain, yes, but he hasn't really gained that concept of it yet. He doesn't really understand exactly how he's operating and how he's moving around it yet. He's just kind of doing this all by instinct, and his ego being kind of just suppressed that much has kind of limited him in his thought process just by a little bit. As eventually, once they would head in, they would see all of the other players there. They would be witness to all of these players just looking around, and Isagi can see that these are some of the best players. Some players that most people have heard of, and these are like the top players in Japan. And Isagi's just kind of excited to be around talent of this caliber, talent of this extent, and talent that can actively do things like this. This is something that he hasn't seen or expected in any kind of capacity, but it's just something new for him to be dealing with. Isagi's really having fun, if we're being honest. Ego goes on to give his spiel about how Japan's football is almost absolute garbage. It can't win and it can't do almost anything right, and there needs to be a change. Ego is talking like this, and Isagi is actually listening because he actually understands and is listening to what Ego is talking about and isn't completely opposed to what Ego's going on about. It's something that he's hearing and is actively taking into consideration. This is something that he's just like going on about, like, okay, yeah, this actually makes sense. So once Ego's done and Kira gives his spiel and like all of the other people give their spiel, they all head in. They're all heading in. Isagi still being the first person in, and they would eventually make it to the Blue Lock facility and start their actual events and everything else like that. Isagi would enter and see Kira and all of the other people that would be in Group Z. He sees this and is actually just interested to just kind of see exactly what this Blue Lock will truly be about. Him and Kira talk for a little bit as Ego eventually comes on and explains exactly what they're going to be doing for this actual selection. And at least for this test right here, he explains that the last person to touch the ball will be out, as Isagi kind of finds this as a little fun, so he has no really big problems or quarrels against it. As once it would start, obviously Igarashi is still the last person. Isagi is a little higher, but not exactly number one. Kira is still put at number one, specifically due to the fact that his ego wasn't damaged in any kind of slight way. Yes, he doesn't have an ego, but he still is an amazing player, obviously. So he's just put into number one at the moment, because they haven't really seen Isagi go all out in quite a long while. That's why Ego's kind of hoping for Isagi to be a good player, but doesn't exactly know where he stands at the moment. So Igarashi does the things that he needs to do. He moves around and he's trying to hit the ball and everything else like that. He eventually finds his way to Bachira and tries to get Bachira to be the person that's it. And obviously Bachira doesn't like that idea and yeets him straight to the face, almost completely just knocking this bruh's teeth out in almost all entire possibilities. Kunigami still steps in, being the hero that he is, and asks for like a fair play and like fair game. And Isagi this time around just goes on to say, like, I listened to what the guy said. Like, him and Bachira, like, he listens to Bachira going on about like Ego didn't say anything about any like the things that he just did. And Isagi goes like, he is right. I listened to what Ego said, and he never mentioned anything about the rules about not being able to hit anybody. So he just kind of finds that honestly intriguing, as at that point, Igarashi would still hit Kunigami in the face and just try doing the same thing, as Kunigami would get pissed and try dealing with that. As from this point on, most events kind of go similarly until the point of one singular factor. Like, Isagi gets hit with the ball from Kunigami because Igarashi has the audacity to use Isagi as an actual like defense shield. But this time around, once Isagi gets his grasp and his bearings, he has no intentions of going after Kira. He actually finds Kira that could actually be somebody useful to be as a person to use as a decoy around him. Yes, he's the decoy, but to him, everyone else is just the second string to his quartet. He's the person dealing with all of the hardships and dealing with all of the battles, and they're just there to witness his glory, witness him doing the things that he needs to do. So it's just kind of fun for him. So he wants to keep Kira. So once Igarashi like gets a little injured and kind of sprains his ankle, Isagi doesn't hesitate. He automatically just yeets it straight into him, and obviously he's not going to be able to really do too much. Isagi just kind of chills out and actively goes up to talk to Bachira. He knows that this match is basically over and he can't really do anything, As the time would run out and Isagi and Bachira are still talking, Isagi's just talking to Bachira because he actually found it interesting exactly what he did, and Bachira's actively interested in Isagi too. He looked at Isagi's expression when he took out Igarashi, and like he knew that it wasn't because like this guy was the weakest link. He just took him out because, honestly, out of spite. He had the audacity to use him as a defense shield, and Isagi wasn't having that. He wasn't in the mood for that, so he was just like, nah, bro, we ain't doing this. We ain't doing this at all. So they end up talking for a little while, and they end up actively becoming friends the same way that they did. They grow that same kind of relationship, and they're able to actively grow the bond just a little better because they actually kind of have something similar. As once they play during the nighttime, like, and they go into the court, like, and they go into the field and actively like play a match against each other, they notice that they're both extremely good dribblers. Obviously, they have separate abilities that kind of like separate movement styles that obviously differ, but they're both insanely good at dribbling. They have their individual styles, yes, but that said, nonetheless, and they end up actively thinking that they could honestly be a very good team for each other if they wanted to be. They do the 1 week's worth of training, and then they get ready for the entirety of that first selection. But this is where I'm going to be leaving the part off. If you guys did enjoy this video, leave a like, subscribe to the channel as I always say. I hope that y'all enjoy my content. I hope that y'all enjoy all the content that we do post on this channel. Hope that y'all make sure to put a comment down below on your opinions and thoughts about this video, and check out the links in the description so you guys can check out our main channels and the other channels that we do have, because we do be posting out banging content when we're not posting here as anything else like that. But I hope y'all enjoyed, but I will see you on the next video. Peace.